So the other night I was looking at the Switch 2 Direct and I decided to look at the comments. And man, people are bashing the Switch 2. There's been this controversy with the Switch 2 pricing, which stemmed from Mario Kart World being revealed to cost $80. And people went insane over this. So today I wanted to look at some hate comments on the Switch 2 Direct, and I will personally react to them and debunk them if it's necessary. Just a quick disclaimer before we get started. I'm not defending Nintendo just because I'm a Nintendo fan. I've just been seeing so many people that are going out of their way to make them look like a bad company for something that they didn't exactly do. I'm not saying that I like the pricing of, say Mario Kart World, but for example, there is this bundle that has it for $50 with the Switch 2. So, like, saying that that's unreasonable when there's a cheaper option available for something you're already going to buy, it's just unreasonable. So, I'm just saying that a lot of things people are saying are unreasonable. I'm not saying that Nintendo raising prices is something I'm excited about. So, our first comment that I found on the Switch 2 Direct is a bit of a longer one, and it says, quote, "Oh wow, thanks for giving us features/specs we should have had 5+ years ago. And you want $450. Hey, does that tablet actually do tablet things well now? My first gen Switch is garbage at the most basic tasks of a touchscreen computer. Did you fix Joy-Con drift? No, you made them more expensive. Did we get OLED? No, downgraded to LED. But hey, look, they left enough space in the bezel to come out with a larger screen later and charge you even more money for it yet again. But hey, they deemed the cartoon go-kart game worth as much as Gran Turismo or Forza. How's that?" What I'm noticing right off the bat is this person is just coming out and saying that they think that the specs should have been there 5 years ago, and it's too much at $450. Now, I do agree that yes, Nintendo consoles are definitely a downgrade from, say, a PS5 or an Xbox Series X, but their games to me make up for it because they always optimize them so well. But the Switch 2 is getting things like HDR, and you're going to be able to do 4K 120 FPS. No, not at the same time, but it can hit those things. So to me, it's not that much of a sacrifice. I'm not too worried about it. The games are going to look great. People have been saying they look great when they went to those Switch 2 experiences, so I'm not personally worried about it. I think $450 is a pretty good deal for this Switch 2. Addressing this person's concern about the tablet doing tablet things well, this was never a tablet, guys. This was a console. It plays games very well. It does a good job at it. This isn't an iPad. It's not designed to act like an iPad. It's designed to be a video game console. This person is also saying that Nintendo has not fixed Joy-Con drift. However, we don't even have confirmation that they've done anything with it, that they have or haven't. So it's kind of early to judge if drift is still going to be an issue, but Nintendo has always had free Joy-Con repairs, at least almost since the Switch has been in existence. I think somebody sued, and then they just made Joy-Con repairs free. So yes, it's a little inconvenient, but they do have a solution. Now, this person's also saying that we don't get OLED. They said that it's being downgraded to LED. Actually, it's an LCD display, not an LED. But people have been saying, with HDR and what they're doing to it, the higher resolution, it actually looks good. I mean, the OLED is for the darker colors to be more vibrant. It's a more vibrant display, but if you have things like HDR working and a higher resolution, the OLED's not going to really do too much. Like, if you compare the Switch 2 to the Switch OLED, I've been hearing people saying that they're about similar. The Switch 2 even looks better in a lot of cases. So, that concern isn't really too valid in my opinion. Sure, I do get that this bezel does seem like it's pretty thick, but at least the screen is going to be bigger. I've heard again that this console feels pretty good to hold. And the bezel's thick, but it's not so thick that it seems like a huge issue. The console's gonna play well. The original Switch had this thick bezel and the screen was small, but this is at least going to be a large screen that's gonna feel comfortable to use. So I'm not too worried about the bezel. This person is also talking about the pricing of Mario Kart World. Guys, buy the bundle. The bundle prices the Switch 2 at $450, but with the bundle you can essentially get Mario Kart World for $50 extra. That's all you're paying. If you really want Mario Kart World, you can get it for $50. It'll still send a message to Nintendo that $80 is too much. They didn't make this bundle for no reason, because they know people are going to want this game for cheaper, so they're incentivizing them to purchase the Switch 2. The next comment I found said, don't charge $70 for games that released at $60 8 years ago, and still require you to pay $20 for the DLC. Bring back gold points, bring back vouchers, make games $60 again, don't charge $10 for an instruction manual, bring back Nintendo Selects. I agree with this person, but only on one place. The Zelda Breath of the Wild Switch 2 Edition, and for those of you who do not know what the Switch 2 Editions are, they're basically upgrades of the Switch 1 games, and they're getting graphics updates, and some of them are getting DLC. I agree that Zelda Breath of the Wild, the Switch 2 Edition, is too much to be charging $10 more for the game and that DLC. That is too much. But that's the only game, and it's just because that one is 8 years old. The other ones that are getting that upgrade, which are Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Party Jamboree, Jamboree TV, I think Metroid Prime 4 is getting one. These are games that are unreleased or pretty recent, like you've got Mario Party Jamboree. That just came out in October. So for it to get DLC on Switch 2, I think is reasonable. For them to sell the game at a premium, it's reasonable because the game is less than a year old. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, that came out in 2023, but the Zelda DLC Switch 2 Edition packs, they're going to be included in the Switch Online Plus expansion pack. So it does not irritate me that they cost more if I can get them for free in the expansion pack. But for the most part, these Switch 2 editions don't bug me because a lot of them are for newer games. So this third comment is again a little longer, so it says, for hiding the price, trying to break the $70 standard so soon, charging to upgrade the quality on already owned games, charging for a software that shows the new hardware's own features, turning a button into an ad for the bad online subscription, pricing identical hardware differently based on region lock, and many other reasons like lack of multiplayer servers, lack of web pages for the Super Mario Maker 2 and Game Builder Garage creations. I'm really disappointed with Nintendo. Remember when Directs gave information directly to us? First of all, the Switch Online subscription is not bad, especially if you can rally 7 other friends and get a family membership for $35. It'll be less than $5 a year for each of you to have this subscription. Remember, this allows for 8 people in the family membership, so for it to be a bad service, it could be really bad, but that price is still pretty good. But you get all these retro games in the subscription, and calling it a bad subscription just isn't fair. So again, this person was also talking about breaking the $70 standard, which for Nintendo was always $60, but we did get Tears of the Kingdom for $70, so I guess you can say that that's the standard. But again, buy the Mario Kart World bundle if you want that game so bad, or just don't buy it and be bored all the time. I don't know what to tell you. It's like you're complaining about something that you're really only robbing yourself of, because there is an opportunity to get the game for a very good price, $50 if you buy that Switch 2 bundle. So it's not a very valid concern to me, because I was already thinking that GTA 6 was going to cost, probably $90, $100. And whatever that was going to do, people were expecting video game prices to go up as a whole. So whatever Nintendo is doing, shouldn't have this been expected? I don't really understand it. Alright, so I'm going to go over one more comment. And this says, not a chance. I can afford it, but I just won't. I might have even gotten on board, even with your ludicrous pricing, but you think you're gonna sell me empty cartridges for download games at full price. My next console will be a Sony. Peace. First of all, Sony already does this where they essentially have the game key on the disc, and then you have to download it off the internet, so the disc is the license. But it's just unfair to say Nintendo can't do that, but Sony can. But Nintendo isn't even going to do this with all their games. The game key cards are for those people, those developers who sell physical games, but they have a download code in them. Like, you'll see these physical games, they have a message, it says full game download. It's just got a download code in the box. This is for the developers who don't want to slap the actual game data on the card or in the box, but they have to have a physical game card in the box. So it's actually good that they're doing this. Nintendo isn't going to do this first party. Why would they be expanding the size of their cartridges like they said at the Switch 2 Direct? It wouldn't make sense any other way, so I don't understand this comment at all. Anyway guys, those are all the comments that I'm going to review today. Do you think that Nintendo is such a bad company for doing things that other game companies have been doing for a long time? Let me know in the comments, and I'd really appreciate if you enjoyed this video if you would subscribe to the channel and like the video. It helps this get pushed out to more people. But anyway, have a great day, and thanks for watching.